Hi, my exotic viewers. This is Moja Exotic, and you are watching Exotic Views. I've graduated to episode number 2. Okay, so this episode and this story is very extra special to me. I have been waiting for a scary submit this whole time. I am so in love with horror, like, y'all have no idea. Like, this creepy shit is like fuel to me. Like, I don't know why. I also have written a book called The Binding. This is my very first book as an author, and this is my second book, and I am working on it now, and it should be out in like a month. Okay, let's hop right into it. This story is by a girl here in Houston, Texas. She says this story happened when she was around 9 years old. She says she can't remember if it was 9 or 10. She said around this time, her and her family were having issues with money. Her mom worked really hard to provide for her and her 2 siblings, her sister and her brother. One day after school, she comes home and all of their things are sitting outside on the curb, and she sees her mother crying and pleading to their landlord. Apparently, they were getting evicted because the mother couldn't afford the place they were living in. So her uncle, which is her mom's brother, decided to drive over, and her siblings got on the back of his pickup truck and they drove all the way to Houston. They were going to live with her uncle and his wife, Priscilla. As soon as they got there, they noticed that there was a graveyard directly across the street from the house. Looked to be about 20 to 30 graves there, something small. After they got settled in, they were playing outside in the yard and they noticed the old guy on the porch next door. Apparently, he was blind and deaf. So her brother decided to do something stupid and kick the ball over onto the porch. The old guy actually turned his head and looked over towards them like he could see them. And they all like screamed and ran in the house and was like, oh my God, we're scared. Nothing else creepy happened that night, but the very next day they were getting off the bus from school and they were walking down the sidewalk and saw the old man sitting on the porch again. Her older brother decided to walk up his steps just to, I guess, get closer to him. He got close enough and touched the man's leg. The man didn't move or make a noise or anything. He just smiled at them. So the brother ran down from the steps, completely freaked out, and they went back into their uncle's home. Being that they were living with their uncle, they slept in the living room on a pull-out couch, all 3 of them. She woke up in the middle of the night because she said she was thirsty and needed some water. Her uncle's wife, Priscilla, decided to leave out water bottles because they didn't want the kids going into the fridge in the middle of the night. So she walked towards the kitchen and she opens up a water bottle and starts drinking it. In the far right corner stood the front door. She started to hear little tapping noises against the door, so of course she went to go and investigate. I don't know, little me would have never did that. I'm sorry. I don't see myself doing something like that, but she wanted to go investigate to see what was going on. She said she got close to the door and started like listening in a little bit just to see like if the tapping noise was coming from the door. And sure enough, it happened again and it scared the hell out of her. She jumped back but then went a little bit closer and then said, hello? There was a voice on the other side of the door and it spoke back to her. It said, hi. It sounded like an old man. She replied with, who is this? He says, it's Mr. Frank. I stay right next door to you. She said realization set in like, oh my God, this is the old guy next door who is blind and deaf. Like, how is he standing here talking to us? She immediately started apologizing. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that my brother was bothering you. We shouldn't have done that. And he tells her, it's okay. I'm not upset with you. He told her we can be friends. She said at the time she was like, oh, well, maybe we can be friends. Maybe I can talk to you tomorrow after school. He says, what about if you open the door and we can talk now? She said she hesitated at first, but she was like, no, I'm not about to open the door. Sorry, I'll get in trouble. He was like, we're friends, right? Why not just open the door and we can talk inside and I'll give you some candy. We can talk. She said he just kept saying little things to try to get her to open the door. But she was also like, I'm not stupid. Like in her head, she's like, I'm not dumb. I know not to open the damn door. I'll get my ass whooped. So she said her sister walked up behind her and was like, who are you talking to? And she tells her sister, I'm talking to the old guy next door. She said her sister put her ear up to the door and didn't hear anybody talking. And she's telling her sister, like, I swear I heard someone talking to me. So to prove her point, she's like, Mr. Frank, Mr. Frank, Mr. Frank, steady saying his name, and no one says anything. So she still wanted to prove her point because she's like, wait a minute, like don't make me look stupid. So she opens the door and nobody's there. Her and her sister walk out on the porch and look towards Mr. Frank's house, and he's not there. Nobody was outside. So they ran back inside and immediately closed the door and locked it back because they know they were going to get in trouble. The uncle came out of the room, and of course they got their ass, whooped for opening the damn door in the middle of the night. Very next day comes, and they were sitting down and they were talking to the uncle and his wife Priscilla, and they were telling them like, hey, y'all know it was a man at the door last night telling us to open the door, the man from next door, Mr. Frank. So the wife is like, Mr. Frank, the guy next door? And they're like, yeah, the old guy. She's like, no, Mr. Frank died a year ago. He's buried right across the street. No one lives in that house anymore. So she's like, no, I swear, he was talking to me through the door. He asked me to let him in. So the uncle's like, wait, so you opened the door for someone that wasn't there? And she was like, well, he wasn't talking anymore, so I just opened the door to show her that there was somebody outside. So they were so spooked out. They went to a store and they bought some stuff to cleanse the house and the yard. And even the house next door, they just was like, Mr. Frank ain't trying to rest. Then this is the other creepy part. She said her mom came home and was like, what's going on? Because everybody's sitting around praying and whatnot, cleansing the house. She was like, what are y'all doing? Because she was at work. So the uncle and the wife, they were like just basically putting her up on game like, hey, listen, the kids saw a man that ain't there, and we just want to, cross all our T's and dot all our I's on this because we're terrified. And she was like, what? You talking about the old man like right next door that's sitting on the porch right now? All of them got like totally scared, and they jumped up and ran outside, and there was nobody there. So the mom is like, what am I missing? Like, he's not there? He's not a real person? So they're like, no, that man died a long time ago. He died about a year ago, and no one lived in that house ever since. Everybody was totally freaked out, and she said she didn't think too much about it until she got a little older and realized, like, that was scary as hell. Like, what the hell was I thinking? Why the hell would I open the door? She said after the priest came that no other activity happened in there. They stayed there all the way until she was about 12 years old. Her mom was able to get on her feet and get her a new place and whatnot, but she's never experienced anything like that. But when she think back to what happened back then, she's like, wow, that was really scary. And that concludes our story for today. Go ahead and do me a favor and follow me, like this video, and comment what you think. And if you have any stories that you want me to tell, go ahead and email me at XotikVuze@gmail.com. Your story could be next.